Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Real Legend of Gaming. We are back with some Clash Royale, folks. In today's video, we will be going over a miner cycle deck that works really well in the challenges and can also be used in the 20-win challenge as well, folks. So enough with all that. Let's get into this video. Let's break down the deck and then we'll show you some gameplay. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, so here is the deck. It is a 3.0 miner cycle deck that consists of the Skeleton, the Valkyrie, the Ice Spirit, the Miner, the Electro Wizard, the Inferno Tower, the Poison, and the Barbarian Barrel. Alright, so let's talk about how to use this deck. Your win condition is going to be the Miner. What you want to do with this deck is set up a push where you have the Valkyrie and the E-Wiz moving across to the point where when it passes the bridge, then you'll throw in your Miner and figure out what's going on in the arena. You can easily use the Ice Spirit to buy you a little bit more time when it freezes, whatever's in the path. Or you can use the Poison spell to do damage over time against the units that are going to ideally try to take out your Miner, right? Because your Valkyrie is going to do a really good job against the spawning units. So you have that protection. And your E-Wiz is going to help you against, obviously, the units that need to be reset and charged. And it does a ton of damage on the tower when left undefended. Reason why I've been filling this deck a lot is because of the Inferno Tower being included. And it's not a deck that doesn't work well. The synergy is really solid in this deck. So when you're using the Inferno Tower to defend against your tanks and pesky units like the Hog, you have other cards that you can easily cycle to. So by Skeleton and the Ice Spirit, you can easily control the pace of the match by kiting your opponent's troops, and it easily reverts back to using the Valkyrie and the Electro Wizard and even the Barbarian Barrel, because that is also a good card to chip damage against troops, and it also clears paths as well. Now, I emphasize how easy this deck is to use, because for one, that 3.0 average elixir cost is really attractive in the deck, and it's not a lot required to make this deck fully functional. It has a lot of regular cards, right? It has a couple commons. It has the rare of the Valkyrie, it has the rare of the Inferno Tower. And at this point, you should have a good amount of Poison and Barbarian Barrels. Now, if you don't have the Miner, you can substitute it with the Goblin Barrel. It works just as good. And if you don't have the Electro Wizard, a substitute for the E-Wiz could be, you could use the Ice Wizard. You can also use the Musketeer. You can use the Wizard. You can use the Executioner. Now, the only decks that gave me trouble when using this deck is, I mean, as hard as it is to believe, but the Golem Night Witch deck gave me a lot of trouble because of the bats that spawn behind the Golem. So try to really save your Valkyrie and the Inferno Tower for the Golem. But if you could somehow take out the troops behind it by using the Barbarian Barrel and the Electro Wizard, or even the Miner, that's going to buy you a lot of time. As far as like Elite Barbarian decks, you should be okay because you have the Ice Spirit and the Skeleton. Pair that up with the Valkyrie and you'll be fine. I'm trying to think of all the decks that are giving people trouble right now. Against the Lava Hound clone deck, it's important to use the pairing of the E-Wiz and the Inferno Tower, and try to use the Ice Spirit and the Skeletons to distract the Flying Machine that gets cloned or the Baby Dragon that gets cloned. And as soon as they clone everything, the Ice Spirit will really help out in destroying those, you know, low HP clone units. And the Poison spell in the worst case scenario will help you against those units and against minion hordes too. So you have a lot of defense setups in this deck. So again, this is how it works. Let's show you some gameplay. So the first deck we're going to show you is against a 2.6 Hog cycle deck, which is again a cycle deck as well, and it's super popular. Now, things to look out for, right? To help you figure out someone's playing a Hog cycle, right? Because I don't think I've ever explained this in a video, and I might start doing that too, because there's a lot of newer players coming into the game, especially with the hype around 20-win CRO. So essentially, like, if you see a combination just like that, where you see an Ice Golem and a Musketeer and a Cannon, they're playing 2.6 or 2.8 Hog, right? Those are like clear giveaways. So you want to make sure that you save your Inferno Tower for the Hog, just like we did right there. And we did, you know, if you think about the elixir breakdown, The Inferno Tower is one more than the Hog, but it's also going to help you defend against whatever was behind the Hog. So it really has value. Now, another thing to remember, though, is that the Hog cycle has the Fireball. A few times in this match, I made a mistake of keeping my units a bit too close. So try to space them out a bit. And also, if you could bait out the Fireball, that's even better. So they dropped down the Hog. This time around, we didn't have the Inferno Tower. So we used the Skeletons to buy us some time until the Valkyrie could creep up. And now we have our Valkyrie Electro Wizard combo. And it will throw in the Miner to go against that Musketeer. Now, here goes the Fireball, right? I kind of forgot for a second that they're playing with the Fireball deck. So it did a lot of damage to my push, but nonetheless, we stopped their push, right? So it's a win-win regardless. But if you can really maximize your average value for your units, like the amount of damage they can do before they're destroyed, it really helps you out. So in other words, like stretch your troops out. Try to get them to do as much damage as possible. All right, so we'll drop down the Ice Spirit behind the tower. We already know what they're playing, so we want to play this strategically and smart and save our cards for the right opportunities. So we'll play the Valkyrie, E-Wiz, spaced it out this time, just in case the Fireball comes in. There it goes. It only hit the Electro Wizard. Valkyrie's still going. We'll use the Poison spell to chip away at the Musketeer. You can also place it a little bit closer to do damage against the cannon as well. So with the Poison, placement is big. Inferno Tower there takes out the Hogs. We had the Skeletons there just in case. We're going to do another Valkyrie push with the Electro Wizard. And at this point, they want to try to split my attention by playing the Musketeer on the other side. We're going to use the Miner just to quickly take care of that. And then the Valkyrie will take care of the cannon. Now the Inferno Tower is going to be forced away. We're going to have to drop down another Inferno Tower to get the Hog, because if not, that Hog would have done a lot of damage to the tower. And it's already at 1352, so we would have been in a lot of trouble. So now we're going to go into overtime. That Inferno Tower was clutch and allowed us opportunity to get a chance to win this match. So E-Wiz, again, will drop down a Poison on top of the Musketeer. And we're going to use the Barbarian Barrel to knock back, any Skeletons or Ice Spirits that were in the path. Now, again, we're going to drop down the Valkyrie. And we'll space it out. Electro Wizard far, since the range is pretty decent too. We'll do damage against the Ice Golem, and we're going to sneak in the Miner for some chip damage. And then we'll drop down the Poison so that we can hit the cannon, the tower, and have the Musketeer walk into it. And they drop down another cannon into it as well, so that helped us big time. Now we'll drop down the Inferno Tower. At this point, they know that we're shutting down their push, so they're going to try to Fireball cycle. So we got to be quick and reactive, right? And be able to create opportunities for us to do chip damage with the Miner. Because if they Fireball cycle 3 times and we're not doing any damage to the tower, we're going to lose this match. They did a good job by dropping down the Ice Golem, blocked my path for my Miner. So we're going to use the Poison spell on the Musketeer again. And we still got the Inferno Tower there for the Hog. Now they did a really good job by playing the Hog on the outer lane. My Inferno Tower was able to do damage, but it was not able to kite it away. So that almost cost me the match, especially with them being able to Fireball. They brought the tower down to 137, but we were able to bring in our Miner for some chip damage and win this match. So against a 2.6 Hog cycle deck, this 3.0 Miner cycle deck did very well. So now let's show you another replay. All right, cool. So here goes another replay, folks. This time around, we're going to go against a deck that has the Valkyrie as well, but it also has the Prince and it has the Ram Rider, which is a really good card right now. And it also did have the Golem. So they play the Valkyrie. We got an Ice Spirit in our other lane. I just wanted to see what cards they drop. We play the E-Wizard, and we use the Skeletons to kite the Valkyrie away a little bit, allowing our E-Wiz to do damage against that Valkyrie. And obviously, they already finished off the bats. So we drop the Valkyrie in front of the E-Wiz, and now we use our Miner, right? The Miner to defend against the Ram Rider, along with the pairing of the Ice Spirit. So even though the Miner is your win, condition, you can use it defensively too. And if you look on the left-hand side, we did crazy damage with the Valkyrie and the Electro Wizard. So it really put us in a good spot in this match. And we cycle back, right? So the E-Wiz again. So notice what happened. Our E-Wiz did massive damage on the left, but because the deck cycle was so good, we were able to cycle right back to it on the defensive side. which allowed us to stop that Prince, which was charging right at the bridge. Could have did a lot of damage. And then we're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. This time we're using the Valkyrie minor combo. So at this point, we're looking real good. We just got to stop this Ram Rider. We're going to use this time around the Inferno Tower, because I don't want that Ram Rider to be able to do damage against my tower, because it's a really good card, especially with the stunning. So we're controlling the pace of the match, as you guys can see. So now they're going to drop down the Prince. Electro Wizard is going to get the job done. And we're going to get a little bit damage done, but for the most part, Electro Wizard did what it needs to do. And we're going to drop down the Valkyrie to be able to counter this Wizard. And that worked out great. Gaining an elixir advantage right there. Valkyrie's going to do some damage against the other Valkyrie. We're just going to sneak our miner in just to finish off that tower. Ice Spirit just to stop that Valkyrie, and we'll be able to chip damage with the Archer. We'll kind of weigh a little bit with the Skeletons, and then we'll use the Inferno Tower again for the Ram Rider and support with the Electro Wizard since we have extra elixir. This is going to help us against the Prince, and we'll drop down our Valkyrie to protect our Electro Wizard as well. And we're going to use the Barbarian Barrel now to go after their regular Wizard. So we're pretty much grooving. We're controlling everything that's going on in the match. As you can see, there's so many defensive options in this deck. And right there, we're going to stop that Ram Rider. We're going to drop the Valkyrie in front of the E-Wiz so he can focus on that Prince as well. And that's it. So folks, as you guys can see, the deck does a really good job against defending against Hog Cycle decks. It does pretty good against bridge spam decks, as you guys saw. You can shut down the Ram Rider with a couple of options. You can shut down the Prince. These are all very strong cards in the meta right now. And because we were putting so much pressure on the opponent, they never had a chance to play the Golem. Now, I don't think that's always going to happen, but you know, it's just an opportunity to create for yourself, right? By intimidating the opponent with the Inferno Tower, you can make the match a lot easier for you. So enough with all that. Appreciate the support always, folks. If you guys are looking for a different type of game, I did a review last night for Evertale. I had a chance to get a copy of the game, and it's a different experience from Clash Royale. But if you guys like capturing and exploring and games similar to Pokemon, you might want to check it out. So alright, other than that, peace out.